Hi everyone, my name is Rebecca and welcome back to... Okay, I gotta take this thing off, it doesn't feel right. Today's video is going to be pretty short. Before I get into Series 3, I wanted to cover the mini-sode that was released just a week before Series 3 aired. So today I'm analyzing Many Happy Returns. But first, a bit of fandom history for you newer fans. I'll be doing a video on the origins of TJLC, which will cover the shift that took place on January 5th, 2014. But for now, you need to know that most of the people who were writing serious meta on the show before then were talking about case theories and how Sherlock survived the fall. People who wanted Johnlock on the show weren't taken very seriously. I've solely been watching the show for Johnlock since the very beginning, but in those early days it was in a hopeless, well, this is never actually gonna happen, but I really wish it would kind of way. Let's just say I was thrilled when Series 3 came out. Many Happy Returns acts as a bridge for the way people viewed the show before Series 3 aired and after, quite literally. The mini-sode is divided into two halves, the first being focused on Sherlock theories and what he's been doing since he survived the fall, and the second slowly easing the audience into what they were about to see in Series 3. A lot more obvious emotion, a lot more pining. And that is essentially the point of Many Happy Returns. There was a meta written pretty recently by Beejohnlocked which addresses this very well. She pointed out that the entire purpose for Many Happy Returns to exist was to prime the audience for Series 3, specifically to see John's love for Sherlock and the way he clearly hadn't moved on from him after 2 years. The timeline on the blog is a little bit fuzzy for this portion of the story, but it's clear that John had definitely met Mary at this point, and yet we're still going to see him wish aloud for Sherlock not to be dead. The writers knew that a lot of people were going to be upset about Mary's inclusion, thinking that it would mean saying goodbye to any chance of seeing Johnlock on the show. So they wanted to be sure that fans could see that after 2 years, John hadn't moved on at all, which is a longer grieving period than John even knew Sherlock. He's not grieving like he lost a friend, but like he lost a life partner, which he did. But that's the second half of the episode. First, the writers needed to meet the audience where they already were. So the minisode opens with Anderson discussing Sherlock theories. You'll remember from Mirror's Part 2 that Anderson is a stand-in for the fandom in 2012 and 2013. This makes the episode being a preparation of sorts for the audience a lot more obvious. They literally start off with fans theorizing about Sherlock cases, but the episode eventually leaves Anderson behind to focus on what's truly important, the relationship between Sherlock and John. Now let's look at the cases that Sherlock solves. They all hint at the plot of Series 3. The first one is Sherlock outing a blonde spy who snuck her way into somewhere she didn't belong.
You bastard.
Sound like anyone else we know? You have to dig a bit deeper to find the meaning for the next one. I only looked into it because I recognized a particular phrase when I was watching The Private Life of Sherlock Holmes.
After that, it was simply a matter of tracking down the killer. Which I did by working out the depth to which the chocolate flake had sunk into the victim's ice cream cone.
That detail is taken from the Sherlock Holmes story, The Six Napoleons. The main case of The Six Napoleons boils down to a man who was sent away to serve a sentence, but after getting out, came back to reclaim his treasure, only to find that it wasn't going to be as easy to claim as he thought. Sherlock is the man who was sent away, and John is the pearl who won't be waiting where Sherlock thought he'd be. The final case that Anderson uncovered was Sherlock helping to convict someone who everyone else mistakenly thought was innocent.
Ist Herr Treptow schuldig oder nicht schuldig am Mord seiner Frau?
Nicht schuldig. Nicht schuldig.
Nicht schuldig.
Nicht schuldig.
Nicht schuldig.
Nicht schuldig.
Nicht schuldig.
Nicht schuldig.
Nicht schuldig.
Nicht schuldig.
Nun.
Like the first case, the apparently innocent person that Sherlock helps to convict is symbolic of Mary. Now, I've mentioned before that details like newspapers are important, and after that heavy emphasis placed on the media in the Reichenbach fall, we should be suspicious of anyone involved in the news from here on out. Well, here we're introduced vaguely to Charles Augustus Magnuson through his name on the front of a newspaper.
Had to be him.
Like I said, this episode exists to set up Series 3, in more ways than one. Lestrade eventually leaves Anderson alone to keep theorizing and goes to visit John.
I'm only going to see an old friend.
You take care, okay?
There's a distinct contrast in the way that Lestrade is grieving and the way John is. Lestrade is coping by trying to remember Sherlock, but also trying to move on with his life. John is clearly not coping well, but he's doing everything he can to repress his feelings. But even the mere reminder of Sherlock is enough to shatter that. Lestrade is grieving the way a friend would after 2 years. John is not. Lestrade clearly looks wary when he asks how John has been.
So, how have you been?
Yeah, good. Yeah. Much better.
If that's true, I would hate to see how he was before. John is wearing a black shirt, the color of mourning. Whether or not John consciously chose it for that reason, the costume designers definitely did. They knew this would be the first time we're seeing John since that graveyard scene, and 2 years later, he's still dressed in black. Lestrade mentions having some things of Sherlock's with him, and John pretends not to be upset by this.
So what's in the,
Oh, that's some stuff from my office. Some stuff of Sherlock's, actually. I probably should have thrown it out, but I didn't know if...
No, fine, yeah.
Lestrade hands John a DVD Sherlock made for his birthday, and when the camera cuts to John's face, the alone and miserable version of his theme starts playing, subtly telling us that he's not handling this well at all.
Yeah, there's something here. Wasn't sure whether I should have kept it in. You remember the video message you made for your birthday? Oh, I had to practically threaten him. This is the uncut version. It's quite funny.
Lestrade immediately regrets his decision. He sees that John is too upset to even look at Sherlock things even years later.
Oh, right.
Maybe I shouldn't have bought it.
Don't worry, it's okay.
John pretends that it's okay, but the score tells us otherwise.
Probably won't even watch it.
Yeah, that's a total lie. But John can't even deal with thinking about Sherlock, let alone seeing him on video. So he turns to alcohol to cope, which he's just casually keeping in the living room. Yeah, that definitely seems healthy. Since I'm talking about John grieving, now is a good time to touch on the interior of John's apartment again. While it vaguely resembles Baker Street, it looks much more like Lucy's home in The Great Game, the woman who lost her fiancé.
Sorry, but you must understand that's
That's what they think, isn't it? His bosses.
The set design is again driving home the point that John is grieving like he lost a romantic partner, not a friend. Alcohol in hand, John pops in the DVD. You can see how affected John is the second he hears Sherlock's voice.
Was that special? The light going down? Yeah, okay.
It's clear from how nervous Sherlock is that he thinks this video will be important for some reason.
So what do you want me to do at the end?
He probably hoped that Lestrade would give it to John after his death so that John would hold on hope for his return. Sherlock also confirms here that he was really trying to get John to like him the first time they met.
And shall I, smile and wink? I do that sometimes. I have no idea why. People seem to like it. Humanizes me.
Fine, whatever.
He smiled and winked when he met John because he wanted to make him like him. We also see how much Sherlock doesn't like being around other people, probably because they always end up disliking him. Although in this case, he might also be defensive because they all hate John.
Why am I doing this again?
You're gonna miss the dinner.
Of course I'm going to miss dinner. There'll be people. How could John be having a birthday dinner? All his friends hate him. You only have to look at their faces.
John actually smiles, remembering the essay that Sherlock wrote about how all of his other friends hate him.
I wrote an essay on suppressed hatred in close proximity based entirely on his friends. On reflection, it probably wasn't a very good choice of gift.
The poor, love-struck fool. Sherlock chooses to keep his excuse vague, saying only lies have detail, and John sadly shakes his head, probably trying to force himself to stop imagining that that applies to Sherlock's death, too.
What was my excuse again?
You said you had a thing.
Oh, right, that's right, a thing.
You might want to elaborate.
No. Only lies have detail.
Only it doesn't work, and John, years after Sherlock's death, once again asks Sherlock to stop being dead.
Right, I need a moment to figure out what I'm gonna do.
I can tell you what you can do. You can stop being dead. You
Look at the heartbroken look on his face when Sherlock appears to respond.
can stop being dead.
Okay, I'm ready now.
He wants it to be true so badly. John's heartbreak music starts playing again as Sherlock finally delivers his message.
Now, Hello, John. I'm sorry I'm not there at the moment. I'm very busy. However, many happy returns. Oh, and don't worry. I'm going to be with you again very soon.
But someone comes to the door, presumably Mary, so John pulls himself together and goes to answer. We cut to Anderson next to his mirror, theorizing about Sherlock's clever return.
He's coming back.
We see Lestrade, Sherlock's genuine friend, smiling at the idea of the game being on, even though he doesn't believe it. But neither of those things are what the show is about. Neither of them are the reason Sherlock is coming back. He's coming back for John. And the minisode ends with Sherlock smiling and winking at John again, still trying to get him to like him even while he's away. The dream of that happy return is what's sustaining Sherlock through this prolonged separation. So like I said, Mini Happy Returns acts as a bridge between Series 2 and Series 3 in more ways than one. Even though the minisode is only 7 minutes long, it includes a lot of details about what we can expect from Series 3, how the characters, particularly John, are holding up since Sherlock's absence, and of course hinting how we should be watching the show, not looking for clever case theories for their own sake, or wanting to see a friendship story. The love story between John and Sherlock has always been what's most important. BBC Sherlock has been a love story since the very beginning, and Mini Happy Returns was where that started to get blatantly obvious. I told you this would be short. I've included a link below to Mini Happy Returns in case you somehow missed it, and since it's a video, there should be an annotation on screen that should take you directly to that video. Thank you to Beejohnlocked for letting me reference her meta on Many Happy Returns. I'll be back next weekend to talk about The Empty Hearse. Until then, thank you for watching, and get ready to believe.